Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. Here are your hosts, Oswin and Lord Knight.
Today's topic is why we don't refer to ourselves as Wiccan.
I guess that's what we can title this.
I mean, I don't know how to phrase that, but Life Temple and Seminary has gotten away from the term Wiccan, or we're trying to distance ourselves from it.
Oh, we've
Why
been
is that?
distancing. For me to try to explain this, we have to go back to right before World War II.
Oh, Lord.
All right?
Okay.
I'm not completely going to say I'm right about this, but bear with me for a minute. Right before World War II, there was a movement that started called the spiritual movement, right?
Right.
All right. This is where we started getting the psychics and the ghosts and all these tales where Harry Houdini went through and was starting to debunk some of these so-called psychics.
Okay, yeah.
Well, this started the spiritual movement. Underneath the spiritual movement, paganism, witchcraft, and all that was starting to reemerge.
Okay, yeah.
All right? In a way, yes, you could say we sort of used it as a smokescreen. All right?
Yeah, it would have been around the same time, so it would have been easy to do that, yeah.
Right, where some of these ideas came out. Now, what you have to understand is the way we're looking at this is right now we have Christianity and we have the pagan religion. The pagan religions are any religions that do not believe in the birth, death, and resurrection of Christ.
Right.
Which places Muslims, Hindus, even Jews to a certain extent into the pagan category, according to Christianity.
To some extent, yes.
All right. Which Jewish has this special space in Christianity. They don't necessarily consider them pagans, but they're not Christians either. So,
right.
Even though we do know that Muslim and Christian faiths all came from the Jewish faith, from the Abrahamic religions.
Right.
All right. So we only have two categories at this point, basically. We have paganism and we have Christianity.
Okay.
Again, pagan is this and not. Now we jump ahead a few years. All right. The spiritual movement is still growing, and they're also doing this whole entire predicting a quote unquote new age is coming of enlightenment and wisdom, because we see the second reoccurrence of this during the 60s.
Right.
All the spiritual and the pagan movements and all this started to come about. Gerald Gardner's stuff starting to become a little bit more popular, along with Margaret Murray and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then with the hippie movement in place as well, again, another nice smokescreen.
Another nice smokescreen, and then we start getting the whole Age of Aquarius.
Right.
The whole New Age movement. All right? There's a reason I keep on doing it this way, okay? In the pagan religions, we wind up with paganism. And those are basically what they're starting to refer to as all the witchcraft, Wicca, and then you have the New Age movement, the side of it, which some people put that in the same category as paganism.
Okay.
This is the first term where in the world we start seeing religions develop out of the pagan cultures. So again, this is more the European witchcraft cults and blah, blah, blah. Then we start seeing a division there. All right. We have Wicca, and then we start getting witchcraft.
Okay.
So we have the Gerald Gardners and the Alexandrians who are being Wiccan, and then we have the Lafars and all that who are basically going under the context of, or the label of, witchcraft.
But now, aren't the Farrars Alexandrians?
If you really want to get into the connections of where in the world all this really started and blah, 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 read Drawing Down the Moon. That book right there will give you to the point to where we are, where we really just don't give a crap about this shit.
All right.
But we're only doing this to help people put us in our little category, I guess.
All right.
We have Wicca, which is the Alexandrians, and then we have the Lafars, where they strip away a lot of the New Age or the spiritualism concepts.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what y'all discussed with on Cauldron Brew?
Oh, yeah.
All right, where there's these two separations, right?
Okay.
Well, let's bring this up to a modern times. Is about the 80s or so, the spiritualist movement relabeled themselves the New Age movement, and this starts to become more pronounced in American culture because of Shirley MacLaine's out on a limb. All right, because they got tired of, we get tired of waiting for the New Age to start, so we're going to go out and create it.
Right.
That's where the difference was between the two philosophies. All right. The spiritual movement believed a new age was coming, and we just had to wait. The dawning of the age of Aquarius. Then the new age movement, people were like, well, it's taking a little too long, so let's push it.
But now the whole age of Aquarius thing, that was based on the stars. That was based on astrology.
Right. And again, here's your problem. Is there are things in the spiritual movement, in the space, in this Wicca witchcraft movement that are very similar.
Okay.
But the thought or the theory of why behind them is completely different.
Gotcha.
So there's where the difference is why behind all of this. Then we get up into more of the modern age. And now we have the New Age movement. We have Wicca, which seems to be the more New Age movement now. Wicca and New Age has completely, to me, merged together into one thing. So this is the category for us that we put all the eclectic, non-traditionally trained and solitaires and these spiritualist people in this Wicca category.
Okay.
I'm not saying we're right or wrong on that. But since we saw that movement, we're like, no, we're not associated with this. There are certain concepts that the Wiccans believe we do not.
Exactly.
All right. Now, again, there's another branch off in witchcraft itself, witchcraft as a religion. Because everybody's got to remember, we refer to ourselves as a member of craft.
Right.
And as a member of craft, we are called witches. It is a religion to us.
Okay.
It's a belief system. All right, kind of like Christianity. We started to see a split in witchcraft. And this split is basically coming where you have like the, for lack of better ways to think about this, is the Thorn Mooney group who want to be Wicca Gardnerian or a Wiccan Alexandrian, where they want to take those Wiccan concepts and still somewhat hang on to the traditional framework too.
Okay, so they're trying to, you think they're trying to bring more of the New Age aspect into the traditional craft.
Witchcraft, right. Which is starting, what I guess for the lack of better words, the modern witchcraft movement.
Okay. It's
all
a
right,
new modern witchcraft movement.
Right. You with me?
Yeah.
Where we consider ourselves in the vein of traditional witchcraft.
Okay.
That we believe in, that all these traditional witchcraft were the ones that believe what in the world it was like when it started. When it was first starting to come up, where it was sneaking up through the World War II on and up. You have to be initiated. You've got to be trained. There are mysteries here, and that they're just not laying out. You sort of got to be taught or guided.
Okay.
And that we want to hang on to those traditions. Hence the reason, traditional witchcraft.
Right.
All right? Now, knowing a lot of people don't agree with that, and I know there's probably a ton of religions and blah, blah, blah left out of this. I'm not naming them all.
Right. We can't cover everything, so.
Right. So now in our traditional witchcraft, you have Gardnerians, you have Alexandrians, and notice we do not use the word, when we talk about these groups, we don't use the word Wicca, because we're trying to make a distinction. There's Gardnerians, and then there's Wiccan Gardnerians. And of course, this is all up to the Gardnerians, what the world they're going to do with their little split that they got going on.
Right.
With some arguments. This is my suggestion. Call yourself Wiccan Gardnerians and leave it at that. Everybody else call yourself Gardnerians and be part of the traditional community again.
That's not my argument to be in. So
not mine, but hey, that makes better sense to me. In that branch of all those traditions, you have what we refer to as Old Guard. That's what we are. The lack of any other better word to call ourselves.
All right. What is Old Guard? Because I hear this question all the time.
It's very hard to define. All right. Old Guard Paganism. You're not going to find too many radical feminists in our tradition. Lady Keegan's a stay-at-home mom. I have never heard any of my other priests or priestesses ever say anything negative because she decided to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
Lady Abba is a businesswoman. She owns a business.
Right.
Nobody ever gives her. That is our philosophy is women have a choice. If they choose to work, they choose to work. If they choose to stay at home, they choose to stay at home. That's the kind of feminism we tend to like. Make sense?
Yeah.
Not one better than the other or anything like that. All right? I'm sorry. Lady Abba has gone to, have been around more of the, closer to the Dianic groups and is upset at them when she turned around and fixed the plate for a guy that was for one of the high priestesses that she was around. When she fixed him a plate and took it to him and is like, well, he's here. He did all this work for us. At least we could do is take him some food. I mean, come on.
Right.
It's not like we're asking him to sit down and actually eat with us. Oh, God.
Oh, wait, we are.
Oh. But again, that's our tradition. This is more what Old Guard is. We're not the big feminist people. We're not going to be, we don't believe in socialism. We don't believe in socialism as a form of government.
Okay, yeah.
All right. We believe it takes a witch to make a witch. We also believe that magic is magic. Just like they do with the whole socialism thing, but they'll put national socialism or this kind of socialism or that kind of socialism.
Right.
And at the end of the day, y'all are all still socialists.
Right. It's still socialism.
Nazis were socialists. I mean, come on. Magic is magic. I don't care what word you put in front of them. Our belief is magic is just magic and whatever it takes to get you across that line. I don't know how else to explain this. We have our ethics and our morals, which we've gone over. I don't know. What else would you say about us?
I mean, I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, we don't play around with all these labels.
We don't play around with hate. For crying out loud, you teach a class for our first degrees in an attempt to get them not to hate Christians.
Right.
I mean, come on.
We do have a lot that come in and they have an extreme bias towards Christianity, and that's not something we teach. It's not something we agree with. And yeah, we do. We try to turn their minds to a more open state where they can see some of the similarities or they can see the beauty of the religion itself and get past all their biases and discriminations.
And respect the religion for itself versus for its people.
Right.
Again, we got bad people on our side that do all sorts of weird things.
Absolutely.
Don't get me started with the people that do the book hauls and God forbid the unboxings that just sound like freaking info commercials for 2 hours.
Well, yeah.
But that's us. We believe that we should be more capable of doing. We believe that we should reliance on a group or the government is considered a bad stance where we're concerned.
Okay.
We also believe that, you have to learn how to stand up on your own before you can start helping other people. But no, we're not Wiccan. Reason we're not is when you read what a Wiccan is, we don't believe in the Wiccan read as an ethical framework.
Right.
It's just, I consider it impossible because the harm none. I'm sorry, it seems to always have the same. Don't want to get down that right.
Yeah, well, I was gonna just simply say with the harm none, there's always implications somewhere. So
right, it just when you take it to extremes and stuff like that, it starts breaking down and makes no sense.
Right.
To a certain extent. I'm not saying all these other religions and stuff are wrong. I can't say that.
Right.
All right.
No, because it's working. It's working for those people. So
yep.
who are we to say?
Right. You know, again, where most of our problems is when people sit there and try to tell us, or we feel like people try to tell us what we are supposed to believe.
And when we're here in this podcast and when we're talking about what we believe, we're not telling anybody you got to believe this way. Or we're not telling anybody we're right. We're just telling you this is the way we believe.
Well, I sort of get tired of having to repeat myself every 15 seconds to remind people. But yeah, you know, and it really don't help because, you know, you always have at least that one person, you know, y'all stupid, how dare y'all, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those people.
Here's what we believe Old Guard Paganism is. We're a little bit more, we are a lot more traditional than the average, all right?
We have been referred to as the stiff shirts of the pagan community.
Exactly.
I mean, just saying.
So, I hope this defines where in the world we are and, you know, what in the world where we get our tradition from. And you don't want me to sit here and say it's the exact same as Lord Men. No.
Right.
I have put my slant on it as the years have gone on. But then so is Lady Abba and Lady Keegan.
Well, sure, and that's going to happen. I mean, that's a natural evolution.
Yeah, Lord, and you know, Lord Raceland, it really baffles me because, well, not too long ago, I was just teaching a class in which I was explaining to the students that, well, you are technically more Christian, where Lady Abba is a little bit more Italian witchcraft, Strega. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Raceland tends to be a little bit more ceremonial magic.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Keegan, well, she's just an apothecary.
Well, not just an apothecary.
But
I mean, she does have a master's degree, so
she's got a few degrees.
Just saying.
Just saying. And what was funny was the guy was kind of like looking at me going, well, this makes no sense. How in the world do y'all all function together? It's because when we come together and say, this is the way we're going to worship when we are together. This is the way we're going to worship. So we don't really hurt too many people's feelings, and they still get a good spiritual time or...
Right.
What were you going to say? What would you call it? What is that? Spiritual... Ritual.
Ritual?
Yeah, ritual.
What's that word again?
No. Well, I don't want to say ritual because the whole ritual thing is a treat in and of itself.
Right.
At least it is for me. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Right. But no, it is a good spiritual experience for everyone.
Right. This is traditional. This is the way we operate. This is the way covens do. Everybody wants to make it harder or want to go with what they see on TV and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what you see on TV is not necessarily real.
Well, I was going to say it's also what they've heard from other people in the past. I mean, there are disgruntled people who leave covens and spread bad information about what goes on.
Well, it's kind of like going to one McDonald's and having a bad experience and declaring that all McDonald's are terrible.
Yes, of course, yeah.
All right, don't get me wrong. No, the food is terrible, but
that's because we're used to home cooking, so don't even go there. Plenty of people disagree.
Hey, it's nice that people finally figure out that we do preach some of the stuff we preach. I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, for crying out loud, you know, when you are home, you get what? Homemade creamer.
Oh, yeah, for my coffee. Absolutely. Yeah.
The last time we actually ate out was just to go pick up some burgers at the local joint.
Yeah, I mean, there's a nice little restaurant down the road. Occasionally we eat out, but not very often.
You would rather have home cooked meals.
Yes, I would.
Again, this is the philosophy of Old Guard. This is what we would rather do. We would rather sit at home and enjoy each other's company. We would rather have home cooking. We would rather have marinara sauce made with fresh tomatoes out of your garden.
Right.
So I think that's all I got to say about this. What about you?
I think that pretty much says it all.
If you're still confused after this, I'm sorry.
Ain't much we can do about that.
Again, like I said, I know I didn't mention everybody or the whole entire thing, but this is the way we're looking at it.
Right.
Yes, Wicca to us is finally merged with the New Age, has become the New Age Wicca movement, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But
whatever you want to call it. And that's fine. Y'all can have it. That's it. I'm not going to tell you how to believe or what to believe. Not my job.
Right. Exactly.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning